In this video, I'm going to discuss the dynamics of Republican and Democratic state governors in the fictional Trump-Musk game of corruption. Just a quick reminder of the basic game rules. Review of the conflicting objectives of Trump-Musk versus the average citizen. In this game, Trump is focusing on reforms benefiting the wealthy, and Musk benefiting from public support and resources. Their actions will prioritize the interests of the rich and powerful over the welfare of everyday citizens. The players include Trump, Musk, politicians, and the American public, who are the pawns in this game struggling to survive. In the corruption game, the dynamics of Republican and Democratic state governors play a crucial role in the ability to fight against the corruption perpetuated by figures like Trump and Musk. Let's break it down. Republican state governors, aka the corrupt allies in the context of this game, are often seen as complicit players who either directly benefit from the power structures Trump and Musk manipulate or align with their business and political interests. They might enable the continuation of corrupt practices because their policies and priorities tend to favor wealthy elites, large corporations, and deregulation. Republican governors, the corrupt allies. How it works in the game. Allegiance to Trump and Musk. Many Republican governors align themselves with Trump and Musk due to shared interest in corporate profits, deregulation, and cutting taxes for the wealthy. This alliance creates a situation where Republican governors prioritize protecting these elites over the well-being of the people they represent. In a minigame, Republican governors can use the corporate protection cards to block laws or investigations that would hold Trump or Musk accountable. These governors might prevent state-level investigations into business fraud or environmental violations to ensure that Trump and Musk continue profiting without interference. Veto power. Republican governors often use their veto power to prevent legislative reforms aimed at curbing the power of billionaires like Musk or Trump. For instance, they might veto bills that aim to increase corporate taxes, improve environmental standards, or regulate cryptocurrency. In the minigame, if a state legislature passes a bill aimed at holding Trump or Musk accountable, Republican governors can activate a veto override card to block these efforts. This leads to frustration for players who are trying to fight for the people and slows down attempts to restore balance. Continuing with the corrupt allies. Corporate-friendly policies. Republican governors may implement policies that directly benefit Trump and Musk, such as tax breaks, land grants, or regulatory exemptions for their companies. These policies keep Trump and Musk businesses operating with minimal accountability. In the minigame, by activating the corporate welfare card, Republican governors funnel state funds into the pockets of large corporations like Tesla or Trump's real estate ventures, while the public gets little in return. Continue with corrupt allies. Anti-public welfare. These governors are less likely to push for policies that protect the working class, enhance education, or improve health care. They may argue that reducing state spending helps businesses grow, but in practice, it keeps the public at a disadvantage while allowing the rich to grow richer. In the minigame, Republican governors might try to cut funding for programs that help the most vulnerable, like healthcare or education, which benefits Musk and Trump's interests. Who can afford to pay for private services? This moves the game closer to a zero-sum situation where only the elites thrive. Now we are moving on to the gameplay for the Democratic governors, aka the People's Guardians. Democratic state governors, in contrast, are more likely to champion policies aimed at protecting the people from the corruption and exploitation of billionaires like Musk and Trump. Their game mechanics revolve around progressive policies and accountability measures designed to balance power in favor of the average citizen and hold corrupt elites accountable. Continuing with the Democratic governors, the People's Guardians. State investigations and prosecutions. Democratic governors will push for investigations and lawsuits into Trump and Musk businesses and financial dealings, targeting issues like tax evasion, fraudulent business practices, and environmental violations. They will prioritize public interest over corporate protection. In the minigame, Democratic governors can use state accountability cards to launch formal investigations into Trump and Musk. These investigations can expose fraudulent activities, forcing Trump and Musk to defend their actions, leading to financial penalties and regulatory restrictions. Continuing with the Democratic governors. The People's Guardians. Regulation and oversight. Democratic governors are more likely to regulate tech industries, corporate practices, and the cryptocurrency market, especially where Musk companies are concerned. This reduces Musk's ability to exploit weak regulations for financial gain. In a minigame, by activating tech regulation and corporate tax justice cards, Democratic governors can pass laws to enforce tax payments and prevent environmental harm by regulating companies like Tesla, while also introducing protections against crypto manipulation. Continue with the Democratic governors, the People's Guardians. Fighting against tax cuts for the wealthy. Democratic governors actively work to raise taxes on the ultra-wealthy and corporations, ensuring that companies like Musk, Tesla, and Trump's empire don't continue to avoid paying their fair share. In the minigame, the Democratic player can pass progressive tax laws, increasing the tax burden on wealthy individuals and corporations, and closing loopholes that Musk and Trump use to avoid paying taxes. Democratic governors' use of public welfare and empowerment. Democratic governors will push for policies that directly benefit the public, including funding for healthcare, education, and infrastructure. They are also more likely to invest in programs that reduce economic inequality and hold corporations accountable for the impact they have on communities. In the minigame, by playing public welfare cards, Democratic governors ensure that funds are used to improve the well-being of the citizens, like increasing healthcare access, improving schools, and raising the minimum wage. This forces Trump and Musk to confront social justice issues that disrupt their business models. Activating pro-democracy movements. Democratic governors can also encourage grassroots movements that demand corporate accountability and better treatment for the working class. This could be through protests, petitions, and calls for reforms that challenge the status quo. In a minigame, these governors can activate pro-democracy movements, rallying public support for their initiatives to break up monopolies, regulate large corporations, and hold wealthy elites like Musk and Trump accountable for their actions. Endgame strategy for Trump and Musk. In the corruption game, Republican governors often serve as obstacles for those fighting for justice. They prevent reforms, defend corrupt practices, and protect Trump and Musk's business interests, creating a rigged system that benefits the wealthy. This means that even if states try to pass laws to protect the people, Republican governors will often use their veto power or corporate-friendly policies to shut down progress. In contrast, Democratic governors serve as allies to the public. They actively challenge Trump and Musk's influence, pushing for transparency, accountability, and better laws that ensure the wealthiest players in the game pay their fair share. Democratic governors are the ones who drive real change in the game, providing tools and power-ups to fight against the corruption entrenched by Trump and Musk. As the game progresses, Republican governors will make it harder for the public to achieve justice, slowing down efforts to expose and hold corrupt elites accountable. Meanwhile, Democratic governors become the primary force for good, utilizing legal and political strategies to push back against corruption, expose criminal behavior, and ensure that the people's interests are protected. The ultimate showdown comes down to whether Trump and Musk can continue using Republican state governors to maintain their corrupt control, or if Democratic governors can flip the script and fight back for the common good, restoring fairness to the game. And this ends this portion of the Trump-Musk game of corruption, the dynamics of Republican and Democratic state governors. Thank you.